You are listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Commercial! Break for 30 seconds. Into transmission.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Sunday. And I am your host, Angela Smarito. And please join me in welcoming Rick Hall with Ground Up Property Services back to the show.
Hello.
So Rick has been our sponsor since day one, and I always tell the story is Rick is the one that was sitting with me 3 years ago and was like, you should do a show. And I was like, well, you think? And then here we are.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Super excited to also introduce Dr. Kristal Vance and Dave Vance representing Partner Co. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hello.
So you guys actually have a partnership because he was like, I'm just drop to drops. So tell me what is Partner Co. and what is drops to drops?
Well, Partner Co. is an incredible company that focuses on health and wellness and nutritional products. So it's pretty much like shop the online stores of nutritional products that you know have been gone through by doctors, and it's all based on science. So clean ingredients. And we partnered with Rick not that long ago, and it's become a great friendship.
Okay, so how did you guys all meet?
Rick happens to take care of my ground up. And he was out there doing some tasks, and we got to talking about life changes, and he saw that I was participating in losing weight and making changes in a lifestyle, and we started visiting more about that, and one conversation led to another, and pretty soon we were meeting, talking about business, and then friendship developed, and then networking. We both go to the same network.
Right.
So.
Well, I'm always honored to call Rick my friend because I always tell one of the people that I've met through business networking are just my lifelong friends. Rick, Brian Hastings, Mike Heyman. These are people that I met several years and years ago, but I always felt like I've always taken care of me. They've watched out for me. They're the people I know that if I broke down in the middle of the night,
absolutely,
they would,
in a heartpeat.
They would come get me and help me out. So, and on top of that, have always supported me on a business level as well. So, let's talk about I want to give Ground Up Property Services its plug because, like I said, Ground Up has been supporting the show since day one. So, just real quickly, let everybody know, Rick, what Ground Up Property Services and the services you provide.
So, we are a full service and stuff irrigation repair company based here out of Orlando. So, we service from Ormond Beach down to Kissimmee.
Okay. And have you guys been crazy busy?
We have been crazy busy. It's been a wild summer. However, it is starting to slow up with all the rain that we've been having and stuff like that. So we're going more into water leaking and high water bills and all that kind of stuff right now.
Right, because it's been dry.
We had a really dry drought.
I know. I remember. For sure. We're getting our lawn treated right now for chinch bugs. So, but
now's the time.
I know. We're getting there. All right. So, but this is another adventure for you.
Absolutely.
This.
Yes.
And so is Drops to Drops kind of like your portion of the business, and that's what you...
Yes, it is.
So let's talk about the product a little bit. So it's called Slenderiiz. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So what is that? What does all that mean? On this show, we support a lot of holistic. We have a lot of holistic people that come in here. I am not a huge fan of Western medicine, and sometimes I admit I've had the show pulled off Facebook before because I said a few things that people didn't like. You know what I mean? I'm into organic. I'm into health and wellness. I'm into hormone balancing. I'm into all of that because I don't believe getting old is a disease. I think that there's things that we can do.
Oh my goodness, you and I are going to be quick friends.
So, yes. So let's talk about the journey.
Yeah. Oh, well, for me, my journey really began about 10 years ago. So I am a doctor, became a chiropractor and went down that route just because I've never been a fan of that pharmaceutical world, and mainly because it just hadn't worked for me. Yeah. So 5 years old, I'm here with Dave, my business partner, which happens to be my father. So he's been along here with me a very long time, my whole life, and it's 5 years old, I had my kindergarten immunizations, and not too long thereafter, my hair all fell out.
Wow.
And, yeah. And so we began this journey, and, I've got a parent sitting here next to me going, here's my 5-year-old. She wasn't broken. Now she is. What did you do to her? And so we've spent my lifetime trying to figure out how to go back and not really go back in time, but to figure out what really has gone on with my system. And I think there's a lot of people who feel like that. Like, you feel like you're broken and what's wrong with me and how do I help myself? And so all growing up, I was treated with lots of steroids for the inflammatory issues that were happening. And at the same time, the only thing as a girl, as a woman, because it was my whole, growing up, I ever focused on was the scale. And that was the number that I really used as my barometer of health.
Mm-hmm.
Which seems silly, but it is, as a
I'm
society.
Right there with you. Yeah. I mean, I was born in '73, so I'm total straight up Gen X, and for me, it was calories. Everything was calories.
Yeah.
I didn't understand micro or macros or any of that other stuff, but I looked at the calories, and I was like, 1,200 calories a day is what I'm supposed to eat to stay like rail thin. And I'm just like, everybody's different.
Yeah.
I've learned so much.
Oh, my goodness.
I wish I just knew it when I was younger, though.
Oh, wouldn't it be nice?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I realized that my story has become literally my testimony to go out and really be that light. That's why I'm here today.
Mm-hmm.
I want other people to know that they're not broken. So I journeyed and I hit, those monumental birthdays. I hit 40 and I was like, ooh, it's time to self-assess. And I'm like, oh, I do not like what I see. I didn't like anything I saw.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, at that time, I know when I say this, they're not in studio to see your eyeballs when I say this, but I was 300 pounds.
Wow.
And miserable.
At 40?
At 40 years old. So 10 years ago, I was 160 pounds heavier than I am today.
Wow. That's like a whole human being.
It's a whole person that I have got off my shoulders. And Thank you for the claps.
That's amazing.
And my parents, my dad has been here by my side watching it, and that plays a huge role here because you have to have community. You've got to have support that comes alongside of you and support you, hold you accountable. But I decided that I was going to stop chasing the scale, and I decided I was going to start taking healthy steps.
So out of curiosity, was this something that happened gradually, or was it like you hit 40 and everything stopped clicking, and then the weight gain came fast, or was it like 5 pounds here and then?
Oh, I dieted myself fat. There's no doubt about that.
Right. Okay.
And I say that like when I was 300 pounds, you said fat. I wanted to claw your eyeballs out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was such a trigger for me to say that. I may have triggered someone, and that's okay, because sometimes we got to get down into the emotions of, hey, let's stop acting like it's okay. It's not. It's not okay to be 300 pounds.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy,
and that's really that's what matters.
Yeah.
And if you have a family, you're doing them a disjustice because you're not taking care of yourself, and so that indirectly is hurting your family, whether you want to accept that or not.
Oh, well, I think if I say you're unhealthy should be just as triggering as you're fat, and it's simply not. And it needs to be.
I agree.
Because unhealthy is expensive. Unhealthy tears families apart. And instead, we're looking in the wrong direction. We're looking in the mirror at what gets our attention every day. And those numbers on that scale are just one tool. Like there's so many other tools to decide what our health is. And I just want people to become aware that if you start taking healthy steps, your body will start responding in a healthy way.
You know what? We're gonna take a little break right there. That's a great place to end this segment because we're gonna pick right up there when we get back. So everybody, stay tuned for more BaaD Radio coming up. Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore. And you know what? They've got a huge selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. With Premier Couple Superstore, you don't pay those high prices because you go directly to the source. 5009 South OBT, or shop online at premiercouples.net. because a couple that plays together stays together. Premier Couple Superstore has been a supporter of the show since day one too,
That's awesome.
And you know what? They're a family-owned business too, and I enjoy knowing them and being friends with them. And awesome. we joke about like they're because like obviously they sell, but they have a really nice lingerie and everything too.
Hey, it's all about health, right?
And so it is though. If you think about it,
right?
Couples that play together stay together,
That's
baby.
Right. That's right.
All right, so we're here with Rick Hall, and we also have Dr. Kristal Vance and Dave Vance, and we're talking about a brand called Slenderiiz, and also bottle to bottle, or bottle. Is it drop to drop or bottle?
Drops to drops.
Oh, we did bottle 1 and bottle 2, so I got to make sure I get it all together. But before we get into that, I wanted to pick up what we were talking about because you did strike a nerve with me because I was always a fit person. And I had to overcome an alcohol addiction. So I'm 5 years sober. And with that sobriety came a good amount of weight loss, right? And then all of a sudden, menopause was like, hello, how are you? Guess what? We're going to put 30 pounds on you.
Oh, it's cruel, isn't it?
I was like, what's happening to me? I did get diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. So it's rheumatoid arthritis. And so it was just like I felt like I was just a walking mess. Yeah. And I went to my primary care and they were like, he was like, Angela, he's like, you're getting older. It's just the way it happens. And I was not happy with that answer.
Not okay, right?
Yeah.
It's not okay.
And when he talked to him, I'm like, well, what about hormones? What about this? What about this? And they're like, yeah, well, it causes blood clots. And that was the end of story. And I got no more information from that. And they were not going to support it. And they were just going to be like, they basically said, you're going to feel like crap because you're getting older. And that's just the way it is.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
Completely wrong.
I'm curious. Do men deal with that? Or is it just a woman thing?
No, men deal with it as well.
Yeah. You have doctors just say, yeah, you know what? Lose some weight. You'll feel better. Or that's the best it's going to get.
For me, I think it's more when you recognize or you're able to see as a guy other guys that are getting way too much estrogen, and you see their stamina. You see a lot of things start developing as side effects of that.
Like man boobs?
Man boobs.
Mm-hmm.
You start seeing more concessions in how their mindset, how they approach life.
Getting more estrogen naturally, but not like...
Dairy, cheese... all the animals we're consuming are all fed estrogen for them to gain weight.
Right.
And so our body is becoming a filter of all those toxins, as I refer to them as, because they're not healthy for us.
I did not realize that promoted estrogen. Is that in women too, or is that just something that happens in male?
No, it's across the board. And, it really breaks down to the number one hormone disruptor. And that's really what I deal with on a daily basis with all of the people that we're working with. And it's sugar.
I was going to say, I knew it was
all
sugar.
breaks down to sugar. And as soon as you disrupt the body with sugar,
but why is it so good? Why?
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 Right? Well,
why?
It's in everything.
It's in everything.
Chocolate is good, and I'm like, that's the cruelest joke that God could play on us, is to like make the thing that is so yummy like so bad for us.
Well, but here's the thing: we have taken cacao bean, which is great. Chocolate is good for us. Dark chocolate is amazing, but you come into the American world and you go have a Hershey's bar. Yeah. First of all, that's not the same as it was all over the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. You go everywhere else and their chocolate is very bland. In fact, with Slenderiiz, we have different formulations because in the European market, they don't want our sweet taste buds. Mm-hmm. So their formulation tastes totally different than ours based upon ours has stevia to make it sweeter. And they are like, we don't want it sweet.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so
yeah.
It's such a cultural thing that we have here in the U.S. That our food world totally dictates our health world here. And that's scary.
Yeah.
When the FDA will approve a Twinkie, but your nutritional supplements are not.
Right? Okay, that makes me angry.
I know, it's another trigger. We're going off air here soon. I can tell it.
All the triggers.
So we're I do want to talk about all of that, but yes, at one point in my career, I was the confectionery buyer for the duty and tax free. So I would buy all of the candy and stuff from Europe and bring it over here for the duty frees, and it was just a different product.
Totally.
And but anyway, so before we ended the break, you were talking about where you had gotten, and you were at 300, you're at 300 pounds, and you're like, okay, something's got to change. So at that point, is that when were you already a chiropractor at that point?
Yeah, so I've been a chiropractor for 25 years. Worked in private practice for 18. In good old the state of Wyoming.
Yeah, I was
shout
about
out
to
to
ask you
Wyoming. If you officially know someone from Wyoming, there's not a lot of many people that do. But yes, I practiced there in Wyoming most of the time, and then 5 years ago moved back here to Florida, and absolutely love sunshine. So I love that I got to choose where I live, and
You got plenty of that here.
Yeah, I do. So I moved here, and I took basically what I do online. So we have a community on Facebook that we've been growing for a while, and I utilize this nutritional product. It's what I used. It's what I used. I had been dieting. You name the diet, I've done the diet. In fact, many years ago, I did a gastric sleeve, and I did it in quiet.
Stomach staple?
Yeah, I did it in secrecy because I didn't want anyone to know. I was so embarrassed, but I had done everything, and nothing was changing the scale.
Right.
And I just kept going up, and I was so frustrated. And I was like, well, last resort, I'm literally willing to take my life into my own hands. And I had the surgery. I lost more in the pre-surgery diet than I did with the actual surgery.
Wow.
Because I didn't use the tool. I still wasn't changing my lifestyle. And that's where our health is. 90% of what we have going on in our body is because of what we are doing in our life and what we're putting in our mouth. And so, 10 years ago, I decided to do it different. One step after another. I say I worked my way from freezer vegetables to the organic section. Right. And I knew I couldn't be all or nothing. That's never worked for me. So it was like, good, better, best. I'm going to 80% of the time do my best to make the best choice. And then the rest of the 20, I'll divide it up between good and better.
Right.
And, instead of eating the Hershey's chocolate bar, because that now it doesn't even taste good. Now it tastes like wax.
I know, it's nasty.
But that's because now I go for the organic chocolate. And
if you give me some Dove dark chocolate or something like that, we might have a problem.
Right, I know.
Or the Godiva or any of those dark chocolate ones.
Yeah.
I love them.
But there's so many great choices out there that are a healthier choice. Like, instead of taking in the milk and it changing and disrupting my hormones, I can take in a nut milk instead.
Right.
I can go for coconut milk or almond milk. Like, there are so many modifications that I can make a healthy lifestyle choice. But the number one thing I have to do is I've got to work to get my body rebalanced. And I believe that the drops are the perfect support, and then we pair it with a low glycemic menu. And when we put those two things together, something, I say magical happens, but it's just science.
Right.
It creates a chemical reaction that starts to turn back on your body's insulin sensitivity. And that's what menopause is. That's what man boobs are.
I know this means we're going to break again. Can you believe it goes so fast?
It goes quick.
All right, we're going to pick this back up when we get back from break, so stay tuned for more BaaD Radio. Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Body Street of Winter Park. Experience the future of fitness at Body Street in Winter Park. Lose weight, build muscle, tone your body in only 20 minutes a week. Visit bodystreet.us, where fitness meets efficiency. So we'll talk about that one a little bit too, because you're like, what is that? But we're here with Rick Hall with Ground Up Property Services. Hello. And then we are also here with Dr. Kristal Vance and Dave Vance, and we're talking about Partner Co. And then So Body Street is a sponsor of mine. They're in Winter Park, and it's German technology. And it uses EMS, electromuscle stimulation. You've done it?
I went to Body Street. I love those guys. That is an
Stefan?
incredible.
Yeah.
They are incredible men. I love that workout. It's a great. Great.
So I've been doing it since November, and I love it. Now I still do I don't just do that and then leave it at that, but I get that endorphin rush afterwards. It makes me feel really good. So I've enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, Stefan and those guys are great. So the first two segments, we've teased the product that we're going to actually talk about a little bit. So I'm going to start this off with Rick. So Rick has been on the show several times now, and the last time he came in and he had a pretty substantial appearance difference. And I even said, I was like, where's the other half of Rick? What's going on? And I was like, so you had physically dropped a good amount of weight. And I was very curious what was going on. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I am a type 2 diabetic.
Mm-hmm.
I was diagnosed at least 10 years ago with a blood sugar of over 500.
Mm-hmm.
My dad at the time was a retired pharmacist,
mm-hmm.
and the prescription that I was prescribed, because I was so high,
Mm-hmm.
My father told me to research it. So I did, and it scared me.
Yeah.
Because I would have to take one pill and then take another 2 or 3 pills on top of that to counteract the side effects that one pill
Did
was
it
going
make
to
you
do.
feel terrible?
It scared me,
Right.
but I didn't take it.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
Oh.
no, because that journal article that was written on that drug, my father pretty much said it's up to me,
Mm-hmm.
but that scared me.
Were you worried about having a heart attack? Is that what we're talking about here?
No,
Okay.
there was just muscle damage. I mean, just all sorts of damages that this drug,
Mm-hmm.
and it's only prescribed in worst case scenarios. And
Right.
if you were to ask me what it was, I could not tell you because
Mm-hmm.
I just
Yeah.
wanted nothing to do with it. So I cold turkeyed everything in my life. I cold turkeyed everything because that scared me.
Mm-hmm.
And
When you say everything, you're talking about your food.
all my food, Cokes, man, I used to drink a 2-liter bottle of Coke a day.
Yeah,
Okay, and in my job, I was physical.
Mm-hmm.
I was out digging trenches, throwing sod, installing pavers, fountains, all that kind of stuff at the time. So, I'm young. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
but it caught up with me. I'm the only person in my family that has type 2.
Mm.
And it was because of my diet.
Wow.
100% because of my diet, not because
So
of my dad.
So if you hadn't consumed what you'd consumed, you wouldn't be a diabetic?
Correct.
Wow. Okay. That
Correct.
makes you kind of sit back and be like, well, dang, that sucks.
Choices,
Uh-huh.
life choices. We were hitting fast food. Okay. Grabbing pizza for lunch, and soda and sweet tea and all that kind of good stuff. But we weren't drinking water. We weren't putting the good stuff back into us.
Understood. Yep, I've been there multiple times in my life.
I think most all of us have. Yeah.
What's funny is like if I put water in front of me, I can put like carbonated flavored water in front of me and then regular water. I will not touch the water, regular water, to save my life.
Really?
I will just go straight for I want flavor. I want bubbles. I want, you know what I mean? And so it's so hard. Like I actually said that I want to hypnotize myself so that I don't, it's like I hate the idea of drinking water. I'm like, why? Because it's so good for you. But that's like a mental battle I have to fight all the time about drinking water.
Yeah, it is. So, I was doing good for years and then, and then you start getting relaxed. So my sugar level started climbing, a little bit. And, I didn't want to go to the doctors because I knew the minute I would go to the doctors, they would want to put me on something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd have to fight with that. And that's in my medical records and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So
And they
that
gotta
was,
deal with insurance.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's a whole nother.
Don't even. I think of all the people that have started using different medical, pharmaceutical medications to lose weight recently, and every single one of them had to be diagnosed with a pre-diabetic condition to be able to get that medication.
Are you talking about the Ozempic?
Yeah, and now it's on their record as pre-diabetic, and many of them weren't. but they're using
I
it
didn't
to
know that
use
either.
weight loss.
Yeah.
And in time, that will catch up.
Oh, yeah,
Their
insurance
insurance companies are going to be like, oh, you're pre-diabetic. And they're like, no, I'm not.
But
well, then
you
why
took
did you
this.
take this medication? You're pre-diabetic. It's in your records.
Mm-hmm.
Scary.
And that will follow you.
Well, yeah, you'll not be able to qualify for certain insurance if you're
Pre-existing
trying to.
condition.
Yeah, if you're trying to get independent insurance through the marketplace or something, you will get denied.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Yeah. So, so with that, that's when I had started noticing Dave, and how he was losing weight.
Mm-hmm. So, if you don't mind me asking, what was your weight at?
I was just a little over 400, 402.
Mm-hmm. How tall are you?
Not tall enough. I'm too short for my weight.
Right.
So I was 402, and this morning I was 218.
Congratulations.
So 180 pounds.
Isn't
roughly.
that awesome?
Yeah.
That's just so cool.
But then he sees you, and he's like, "What's going on?"
Mhm.
So.
Yes.
Well, I think so many people see us,
Uh-huh.
but they're like, now that's an accountability standard that he chose to leverage
Mm-hmm.
instead of going, well, yeah, but he just doing something crazy.
Right.
And that's the whole thing with this is I saw Dave and I watched him. Okay. And then I got to know what he was doing. And then I got to meet Dr. Kristal,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard her story and I saw what she was doing. So then there's that sense of trust. There's that sense of bond that what they're doing is working for them. Let me try it for me.
Well, that's testimonials and actually seeing it happen firsthand is a huge testament to trusting.
It's
and
trust.
seeing
It's trust.
product.
Community.
Yes. And, before I take something and put it in me, I want to know what I'm taking is actually what I'm taking.
Mm-hmm.
And the actual results that could happen
Mm-hmm.
with it. So I've lost weight. My sugar level's good. And, I have more energy. So
let's talk about this product.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Well, it's a 2-part drop program, hence drops to drops.
Mm-hmm.
The bottle 1 is what we'll call it. Bottle 2, it will be the second bottle. But bottle 1 is a homeopathic blend.
Okay.
And so when I was first introduced to this, I came about it. Someone drops it off in my hands and says, "Hey, take a look at this," and I'm like, "Oh, great! Here comes something else
The
that
sales
someone
pitch,
right here
the
it comes.
multi-level marketing
Yeah,
campaign.
correct.
Yes.
and I have a love of the multi-level.
I do too.
Level
actually.
industry.
I have a lot of respect for a lot of those.
Yeah, I love the industry, but that doesn't mean I love all of the products because a lot of times there'll be like one hero product and then all the rest of their products, not so hero-ish. They've lost their cape, to say.
Right.
And in this case, I'm being showed it and I'm like, well, maybe it's the hero product. Maybe it's the great product. So I'll take a look at it. And I started to poke holes in it, and I'm like, okay, where are the holes? Let me look at this. And I'm being very critical because, I'm still in my journey. Now, here's the thing. I had just lost 80 pounds of the 160. And I'm doing everything right. I had found that when I ate a clean keto lifestyle, I did the best.
You know what? You're going to have to hold that thought.
No, I'm holding.
It's go way too fast.
So fast.
All right. So we're going to go to break, and when we get back, we're going to pick up right where we left off. So stay tuned. Welcome back. And this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. Do you know what your sprinkler system did last night? Probably not. So now is a good time to get your irrigation service by Ground Up Property Services today. And be sure to ask Rick Hall with Ground Up about a water sensor too, so your lawn doesn't get too much water. 407-468-4295 or visit groundupinc.net. So we're actually here with Rick Hall. So you get to promote your own products here. So
That's awesome hearing that.
Yeah. No, I love doing the Ground Up. I'd still love your commercial. Like, when I hear your commercial on Sundays when it airs, and I'm like, it's just still, because I've thought about redoing it, and I'm like, no, it works. It works. It sounds good. It's a good ad, so we're going to keep with that. So we're here with Rick Hall, but we're also here with Dr. Kristal Vance and Dave Vance, and we're talking about their product called Slenderiiz. And so when we cut off at break, I want to pick up right where we were, and that was you got introduced to this product, and you were poking the holes. You're like, oh yeah,
holes,
let's go. Okay.
And I had just lost 80 pounds eating, dieting, eating keto, clean keto. I know that eating a pound of bacon isn't healthy for me. I don't think any of us need to be told that.
Oh my gosh.
I get a pound of cheese and wrap it in bacon.
I know it smells so good, but it's so bad for us. I know. So, but here's the thing. All of a sudden, it stopped working. I was going through massive stress, a bunch of life changes.
So the keto stopped working
The
for you?
keto stopped working. And all of a sudden, I started gaining. And all of a sudden, it was like, well, it's menopause. And I'm like, no, we're not going to blame it on that. Like, something is going on. And I knew I was under a ton of stress. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I mean, obviously, I'm a doctor. I'm working with people all the time. And I'm like looking at the science of what is going on. And I'm like, how is it that I can be consuming? Like, there's no way I should be gaining.
Right.
What is my body doing? And so these drops come along right at that same time. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to stick to low glycemic. And that's what
does that mean?
Okay,
Sorry.
so low glycemic means the foods that you're eating do not break down to sugar.
Okay.
So we're eating meat, we're eating vegetables, we're eating nuts, we're eating seeds.
So does like potatoes and
they're out.
Okay.
They're out. Not forever. We call it a separation, not a divorce.
Okay.
Okay. It's a temporary release because what we want to do is we want to turn back on your insulin sensitivity. That's what Rick was looking for as a pre-diabetic. Like, I need my body to be able to know that my insulin is spiking. Why doesn't it know it? Okay. That's exactly what was happening to me with that stress. My body started to produce all this cortisol.
And
right? It's your stress hormone.
Right? Mm-hmm.
And so all of a sudden my body was like, no, I need sugar because you're in fight or flight. You're fighting something. You need sugar to run. Well, there's no bear chasing me, so my body's just storing the fat.
Okay.
Right? And it's taking that sugar and storing it in my fat cells for me to use as fuel when I literally need to run. But I'm too tired to run because I'm too stressed to actually literally run.
So it's like this vicious circle then.
Yes.
Okay.
It's your body thinking it's taking care of itself, but we're not living the normal lifestyle. Mm-hmm. We're living in the center of the grocery store and everything that's prepackaged, and it's all turning to sugar too. So when I got these drops, I'm looking at it, and one of the things it does is support the adrenals, which is that cortisol producing the stress organ. Mm-hmm. It's supporting the thyroid, which I knew. I mean, heck, every single time I'd have my lab results done, I'd be like, it's got to be my thyroid. It's got to be my thyroid.
Yeah.
I've Dr. Googled, and Dr. Google says it's my thyroid. And then I do the blood results, and they come back and they say,
you're normal. You're within range.
And you're like, no, I'm not. And you're like, wait, I'm praying that there's something wrong with me. I'm like, I'm broken. Like, what's wrong? And so at the end of the day, I'm like, all right. Bottle one is homeopathy. I love Eastern medicine. Mm-hmm. I mean, thousands of centuries old. It's all botanical based. Mm-hmm. And the way that homeopathy is, it very, very, very rarely contraindicates with medications that people are on. So it's so great to be able to give to the masses. Mm-hmm. So you do this low glycemic menu, and it's simple. It comes in a little booklet, and it tells you everything you can eat.
So the system comes with a booklet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It tells you exactly what you can eat, including fruit. There is fruit on there that your body knows how to break down.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the world of keto where I looked at the apple like Eve in the Garden of Eden, like, oh, if I could only
How are
have
apples?
You. They're good.
Okay,
They're
apples
good.
like my favorite food on the planet.
There's lots of fiber that helps to break down the sugar, so it's slowly introduced into your body, and your body knows how to break that down.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It does not know how to break down Coke Zero. Okay, let's just say that. So we're eating off of the food plan, and then we're taking the drops, bottle 1, right before we eat. So that's the homeopathy. And it just supports the endocrine system.
So what's the packaging like? So you
it's a little glass amber bottle.
Can you just keep it in your purse?
Yeah.
And you put it in your pocket?
Yep.
Yes, it's in my truck.
They're a little big for your pocket, but we got little holders that you can put them in and keep them safe.
Mm-hmm.
And you squeeze the little tube and, put it underneath your tongue, drop the droppers there, let them sit there for 30 seconds and let it absorb, and then wait 10 minutes. And so the reason we wait is because it turns on your body's digestion.
Oh.
The first step of a hormone being produced is digestion.
Okay.
So if your digestion is messed up, your hormone production is messed up.
Is that what they always talk about, your gut?
Yeah, and if your hormones are if your hormones are messed up, then your digestion. So if people are doing all of the, Pepto and Tums and omeprazole, if you're having heartburn and all that, your hormones are a wreck.
Okay.
You're going to love the drops, okay? Because it's going to turn back on and support your digestion before you eat. So you wait the 10 minutes, then you take the second bottle. And now
it's still before you eat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right before you eat, you're going to take the second. And those are vitamins and adaptogenic herbs to support your body's cravings and help to increase your metabolism, but without hormones and without stimulants.
Okay.
We want it to be
so you don't get the
buzz,
the jitters, and on the way here, I was talking with our video producer today, Tyler, and I was talking about like in the 90s and I guess it's early 2000s. They came out with like these appetite suppressant pills, and I don't know what they were called. I can't remember, but I remember taking them, and I couldn't. I couldn't talk.
Skin's crawling.
I was like shaking, and I'm like, I don't think this is gonna work. I wasn't hungry, but I couldn't like process anything. Like I couldn't function. I couldn't work like that, and so it was not good.
It's not. Yeah, no one wants to feel like that. It doesn't feel healthy.
No,
and
you know what I'm talking about? They're the big red pills.
Oh, I do. Zenadrin.
I'm trying to think.
I can't remember the name.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
I know it was. I think everybody did it, and we just it was like swimsuit. They put the swimsuit on the front, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna wear that. I'm gonna look like that. I'm gonna feel like that. And that's the thing is, if we would just start marketing health and wellness instead of body image, it would make such a difference. So the second bottle is vitamins and minerals, and then you eat.
Right.
And so I did that. I used the drops as a tool. I paired it with healthy eating, which is basically, like how an adult should eat. It's gone of the teenage chicken nuggets. Like we're going to get rid of, like, let's eat some real food. And 6-7 months later, I lost on average about 10 to 12 pounds is what I see across the board. So if someone's looking for, I'm going to go lose 30 pounds this month, this is not for you.
I agree. Yeah.
I want people to understand that let's stop dieting. You guys, I've lost the 80 pounds. I've kept it off for 6 years.
We're going to keep talking about this. It's almost like the breaks are coming faster and
they
faster.
They are, man. Come on.
All right. We're going to go to break. And when we get back, we're going to have more BaaD Radio. Hello and welcome back to BaaD Radio as we launch into our second hour. I am Angela Smarita, your host, and this week we have our regular sponsor, Rick Hall with Ground Up Property Services. So, like I said, welcome back. I know we just talked for a whole hour, but the way the show breaks up is that you have hour segments, and so I always, at the beginning of the second hour, I always launch back in and kind of reintroduce everybody. So. Basically, how are you, Rick? Welcome to the
fabulous.
show. and we're also joined with Dr. Kristal Vance and Dave Vance, and we are right in the middle of talking about this new product, and it is called Slenderiiz, and it's a form of drops.
Yes,
and it goes on the homeopathic, on the way of like changing your lifestyle. You're not just going to take a magic pill and lose weight. And I think that that's what a lot of people want to do. They want that instant result. They want to see like it immediately. And so what you're saying is, okay, slow down.
Yeah. Well, slow down. And like you're going to feel better when you start putting good food in.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden you start having, like Rick was talking about, he's like, all of a sudden I had energy. All of a sudden I'm sleeping better. Well, because of the things we put into our bodies, those are typically the things that make us feel crummy.
Do you think that sometimes people just don't realize that they feel bad?
Yeah, I do. And a lot of times people, they'll be like, these aren't helping. And then they go off and then they come back and they're like, oh my gosh, they were totally helping. But let's get back on track. Like, help me get started again, because we don't pay attention to how we feel.
Mm-hmm. Because that's one of my friends, Emily Murphy. She would always say to me, she'd be like, well, do this to make you feel better and this to make, and I'm like, I don't feel bad. But then when I was like, I, lose this part, lose the soda. And I'm like, okay, I do feel better. I'm sleeping better. Right. And that's another thing too, is sleep.
Yeah, that's where our body heals. If someone's not sleeping, we absolutely need to address that.
Mm-hmm. And then you mentioned cortisol. Like, I was waking up so anxietied out that I didn't know, you know what I mean? And I couldn't figure out. Yeah. For me, a lot of it was like my drinking. You know what I mean? Like I was drinking daily, and what I didn't realize is I thought I had the alcohol made me feel more relaxed, and really what was doing is I'd wake up in like panic mode.
Right. Well, and what most people don't realize is that your body produces cortisol to wake you up.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what our body does. It gives you a shot of cortisol so that you come out of a deep sleep. So that's why our blood sugars are higher in the morning. And so that's why they'll send you in to have your blood test, because they want to see, well, how much cortisol is their body pushing out to see how high their blood sugar is.
Right.
So but here's the thing. Instead of us giving us something to reduce that, how about we go back to the reason of why it's doing it in the first place?
I love that.
And it's typically what we ate for dinner and lunch that drove that to be high in the first place.
So so the drops, you started to talk about the process a little bit, and then what those drops did. And you said that you started to see like because you had plateaued. You're not losing any more weight with the clean keto,
right?
And so you introduced these drops. Now, did you stay with the keto during the drop process, or did you introduce other things into your diet?
Yeah, so I used the drops come with a little booklet, which is a low glycemic. So it was very close to keto, but it removed my favorite thing. It removed cheese, and it was that dairy component. Mm-hmm. Because we don't realize and we don't think about it, but we're the only mammals on earth that drink another animal's mammillary fluid, right? That milk is literally meant to make a baby cow turn into a heifer. And then we're surprised when our butt cheeks look like a little baby heifer. It's like we can't continue to take it in and expect it to do something different. So, I forgoed I changed my milk creamer into a nut milk, a coconut. There's always a modification that we can make to be healthier.
Yes.
And so that's what I did. I changed the dairy piece out. I ate lean meats, fruits, vegetables that were all on the little booklet. I took the drops 10 minutes before I ate, and then I ate clean food. And I did that for about 6 months. And I found myself finally with what I had never experienced, a metabolism.
Right.
I've never had one because of all of the years of steroids. It had messed my hormones up my entire life. So when people would talk to me about a metabolism, I was like, that's like Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. Like this doesn't exist, whatever. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, I just went on vacation and I didn't gain 10 pounds. What? That's a metabolism? Are you kidding me? So I love showing people how they can turn back on their insulin sensitivity, get their hormones back working for them, and restore their metabolism. And then guess what? You don't have to diet anymore.
Right.
And you get your power back. You know how to take care of yourself in a healthy way. You know that it comes with what you're putting in your mouth. And the next thing, this person is on full board track for a health and wellness lifestyle instead of, oh, I got to diet again.
Right. So, Rick, question for you. So
Yes.
you're out and about. Like you don't work in an office. You are driving
It's extremely
around.
difficult.
So I was curious for you because lots of times it's the meal prepping and, people have crazy busy lives. And so how did you manage the food part and the preparation of eating clean and following this booklet and being on the road?
Well, I normally don't take my lunch just because when we're out working, our break time is in AC. We want to chill down. So we usually are the restaurant guys.
Okay.
We don't do fast food at all.
Okay.
But, I will go to a restaurant and have a chicken salad, or I will go to a Mexican place and have a taco salad with no shell, and use the salsa, for the dressing and things like that. So I've been eating a lot more salads, grilled chicken,
the salads without all the fat dressings and the fried chicken in it and stuff like that.
And that's still hard for me, but I will use a dressing, but I'll use very little of it. So a lot of it comes back to portion control.
Moderation. That's a hard one. It's hard.
And I love cheese. I'm cheese.
Right?
Cheese.
Cheese is
Okay,
good too.
I can't get rid of cheese.
Okay.
But I portion control it very much.
I know. I love to watch cooking, like little quick cooking reels. And whenever you see them putting something together and you're like, that looks so good. And then you see them dump a whole bag of
2 pounds of cheese
on it. I'm like, ooh.
Oh, and like 2 sticks of butter. And you're like, oh, that's why it tastes so
like,
and all the white
good.
flour.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When somebody drops a load of cheese on something, I'm like, that's not cooking. That's just dumping.
That's medicating.
That's exactly what it is.
It's
That's
medicating.
flavor.
I'm like, you just lost all your credibility in the cooking world because I can put cheese on anything and my kids will think it's good. So there you go.
Yep.
So instead of like
And I
food
don't-
prepping, you pick your restaurant and you do healthy.
I try to eat as healthy as I can being out there. I mean, my wife does want me to take food, but when
cheaper,
it's yeah, it is. But when it's 95 degrees out there and the humidity isn't crazy, and
You want to sit down in a cool, nice place.
I want to
get
sit down,
that. Yeah.
and most, so we tend to find that in the restaurants. There's lunch specials and things like that we go. Never sit down. I haven't been to a big fast food chain restaurant in ages.
Yeah, me neither. I think that if I ate like
That's
McDonald's,
just I just feel sick even thinking about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
would
really.
It would ruin me for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Once
my body
you
would-
haven't had it and you smell it, it's
gross,
like, ooh,
right?
that smells
Yes.
rancid. It's it's interesting how your body adapts and changes. Even cherries taste different.
Right.
Sure.
I like that word rancid. My mom used to say that all the time. But all right, well, we're going to go to break. When we get back, we're going to have more BaaD Radio, so stay tuned. Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar. And with daily specials, an amazing kids menu, and sports, and more sports, there is something for everyone. And football season is just about here.
That's here. Yep.
And don't miss out on Frogger's amazing menu where everything is fresh, never frozen. And with four great locations, there is bound to be one near you: Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Frogger's, hopping with food and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy. Frogger's actually has a really good menu, and they have a lot of healthy choices on there. And we've been I've been working with Frogger's for so long, and I swear their food is just good. You can get wings, but they'll grill them for you. There's a
Yes.
lot of things that you can do that are healthy, and like I said, it's always fresh. All right, so we are here with Rick Hall with Ground Up Property Services, but today we're talking about Slenderiiz, and we're here with Dr. Kristal Vance and Dave Vance. And so we've been talking a lot about working with the body, making healthy choices. And so losing weight is more than just losing weight. That's just one aspect of
Health.
what we're talking about
Choice.
here. And so it's not just losing weight is what do you want to call it? A side effect of living healthy.
Exactly.
And then what we mentioned a little bit during the break is another side effect is less medications. So You mentioned your wife, Dave, and you were saying that she went from what to what on the medication scale?
Well, she was almost 300 pounds, and she had her thyroid removed at age 28.
Wow,
and so that's like a car with no foot feed.
Right.
There's just no way to push the fuel to go anywhere. So it's regulated that way. But she would eat something and gain weight. She struggles more to lose than to gain. Gaining is real easy. So we had to look at the control. Well, every time she'd go into the physician to talk about what's going on, she walks out with another prescription. So she was on 19 prescriptions and had ballooned up to almost 260, 270. And she's down 100 pounds now.
That's amazing.
She's down to only 4 medications, 2 of which are blood pressure.
Right.
And the other one, of course, is thyroid.
19. So 19 pills a day?
Yeah, I have a picture of her holding the 2 Ziploc bags.
It's amazing just seeing that.
Took the pills and poured them in a Ziploc bag. And you have to think, your body's trying to process this much pharmaceuticals.
Right.
So we want to know why we're walking around swelled up, while we're not healthy, while our joints are screaming. It's because what's in those bags are toxin. Your body doesn't need it, doesn't want it.
So it's messing up your liver then, right?
Big time.
Oh, huge.
Right. And that's a big thing is your liver is chemicals. I'm
Yep, it's your detox organ, so
Right.
it's supposed to process everything through it, and then it pushes it to the kidneys, which is where our blood pressure comes from. So it makes sense why we have a society full of everybody's on a blood pressure medicine, and then they have to be on a water pill because it makes them retain fluid, and then that starts the process. Then your medication has a medication.
Well, that where a lot of those medications, like to
100%.
help treat the symptoms, are the byproducts of the other?
Different levels of water pill. Like 1.1.5, 1.10. So we'd have variations of it so that we didn't have to buy so much. But I mean, the out-of-pocket expenses was amazing.
Yeah.
Of what that health was costing me, let alone her being unhealthy. And
Oh my gosh, she was a
it developed
pharmaceuticals
into
dream, though, just
AFib
so you
and
know.
things as such. So it's I think the big thing, Slenderiiz has been around for over 14 years.
Oh.
It's not something new to the industry. It's got a very, very good track record with diabetic doctors out of California, out of South Dakota. So the track record speaks for itself. It's just it never had a viral way to market itself.
What's going to get pushed down? I mean, we all,
It is.
like I said, I know that there's the powers that be that wants to keep Americans unhealthy. It's a money machine. And I'm, like I said, I'm a firm believer that anything that is actually good for you is not going to get the coverage that it needs to get. So it's really up to individuals such as ourselves that are going to go out there and talk about it,
One of the things that Kristal triggered me on, because I was a guy who just liked to eat. I enjoyed, that was one of my better
Food is
hobbies.
good. Food is happy. Food is
Barbecue,
social.
It was a good hobby
It's called
for
happy
me.
fats for a reason.
So you look fat. No, I look happy. I was happy.
Well, I didn't mind. Every year on a birthday, I expected my waist to go up an inch, and my clothes got new clothes that way.
So he was
It's just
looking
a bad-
good, looking
bad-
happy.
Yeah.
Looking happy.
So Kristal walked me over to the garage, and she said, "Dad," she opened up the door. She said, "Dad, see those 2 cars there? Those take premium fuel, correct?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "And your pickup out in the driveway takes diesel, right?" She goes, "Do you put diesel in your cars?" "No." "Do you put premium in your diesel?" "No." She goes, "Can you apply the same technology to your food intake?" She goes, "Every time you try to lose weight, we go to a premium source of food, and you lose it, and then you go back to putting
the
in
diesel.
the crap stuff." So she said, just realize that it's the fuel. It's not the taste bud. You're eating for your taste bud rather than eating for your fuel. And once I understood that, it was like a light bulb went off. And so then it made the drops easier on my choices to eat.
Actually, I asked him what vehicle is it that your body is? And he said, a Pinto.
Don't hit it from behind then.
It's a bean.
Definitely not a Lamborghini. Definitely a Pinto, the way he was eating. But now, I that's the thing is, I was an example, and then my parents turned around and caught the vision of what we were sharing, which was health and wellness. Mm-hmm. And now my mom's off her medications. Both parents are down over 100 pounds. Like, I get my parents longer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal. Quality over, you know what I want? Quality of life with them, not just quantity of life.
Right. I mean, like I said, I think that all of that is amazing, and I do believe in that 100%. And so, all right, let's talk about the product, how to get it. I mean, how first and foremost, how do people educate themselves on it?
Absolutely. So we to get the product itself, you would go to dropstodrops.com.
Okay.
Now that works directly with Rick. He is helping everybody because this is a word of mouth marketing. We let people build their own community.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Rick is doing that, and we are as well. We have a Facebook community called the Circle of Health that Rick can, when they're working with him, he'll add them into that group.
You said it's a Facebook page?
Yeah,
okay.
We've got over 40,000 people over the last year that have joined that community.
That's awesome.
That's a big group. Yeah.
It's incredible. It's for support and accountability, and it is only about Slenderiiz and how to use it and be successful with it.
And so people will put their testimonials or stories, things like that on that page?
Recipes,
and, we all learn from each other.
Yeah.
This is a journey. So what somebody's doing might help somebody else that, didn't know about that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the Circle of Health, and I'm on it every day, reading what people are posting and questions that they're asking and recipes and, what's working.
Right.
It's just a good, safe resource.
Well, I think when you're around people that are on the same path that you are, it helps you stay on it. That's for sure.
It does. It's like-minded.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Okay, so dropstodrops.com.
Yeah.
And then there's some information from there. Does Drops to Drop take you to like a master
There
page?
is some information on there, lots of information that someone can get the understanding of what the drops are. And then it becomes just a process of helping someone take those healthy steps and start working towards them turning back on that insulin sensitivity. And again, this is just the open door. I believe Slenderiiz, if I had 10 people I was talking to, 8 of them need what we have.
That's such a great way to end this segment. I love it. All right, you guys, stay tuned. When we get back, we'll have more BaaD Radio. Oh, welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. LibertyPropertyInspections.net, helping you protect your investment. And we are here with Rick Hall, and we're also talking with Dr. Kristal Vance and Dave Vance, and we're talking about a product called Slenderiiz. And we were talking about a lot of the testimonials, the weight loss, the increase in health and all the wellness. And so now we're talking about how to get that product. And so you can go to dropstodrops.com, and can you order it directly from there?
You can. And once you order it, you'll receive an email that gives you, instructions on how to get started. There'll be a link to be able to join the Circle of Health for support and accountability. And you'll get to work directly with us. It's not, you're not going to get started and be alone. Now, if you want to be, you sure can. But what I'm finding right now is post-pandemic, people are looking for community. They want to be a part of something, but we are across the board seeing people are now beginning to question the white coat, and they're becoming advocates for their own health.
Okay.
And so getting your body rebalanced and, the weight, as we've been talking, this is not a wellness company. This is a health or a weight loss company.
Right.
This is a health and wellness company. And so this just opens the door to where you would be able that if this becomes something you love, we want to help you be able to shop the shelves of an online wellness store, that every single product that's there has been gone through by a board of a scientific advisory board and a board of MDs, DCs, naturopaths, homeopaths, all of us finally working together where we're going, it's time to unite our skills and our talents and really actually take care of the people that we said and made an oath that we would help take care of.
So there's some other products that that support the Slenderiiz.
Yeah.
What are some of those?
Well, anything from your protein shake that is, GMO free and chemical free and preservative free.
What are your thoughts on protein? I find I have a hard time with the protein because I'm super sensitive.
Yeah.
I'll feel bloated or I'll feel uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
And so I've struggled. And I struggle with my protein intake because I don't eat a lot and just, like I said, meat and meat and, there's other ways. But the protein powders and things like that have bothered me.
There's so many crummy ones out there. And so in my research, in fact, I just was doing it because that actually is the product of the week that I'm sharing about this week. And plant-based pea, yellow pea.
I've heard that,
right,
yeah.
is the best protein source.
Okay.
One of the reasons that it is it's really high in iron. And if you have it in correlation with some vitamin C, your body will absorb that iron and really pull it into the cell. So that is a massive benefit.
Right.
It's very, you want to have a protein that has a digestive blend with it. Because, who wants to drink a shake and be bloated and feel miserable?
Yeah, that's what's happened to me in the past. So it was just crappy protein powder
it is.
then?
And
is that why?
Yeah, it is. And not only is it, I mean, look, if we're going to go to a big box store and buy a pre-made shake for $3, you get what you pay for.
Okay.
It's not surprising that it's not full of great. But the biggest thing is when we get into a lot of protein sources, they're now, we've all been marketed. We all know that soy protein is the cheapest version of soy. So if there's soy protein, my body doesn't process it's
soy
terrible.
either.
Oversaturated.
It's so terrible.
Is that why?
And then the next, what the most would have is whey protein, undenatured whey, which is obviously it's much better than soy, but it still breaks down to that casein protein, and that casein basically messes with your insulin resistance. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't allow your body to adapt to the sugar breakdown.
So could I just eat a bowl of peas and that would be my protein for the day?
As long as they're yellow, not the green ones, the yellow ones.
I didn't know there was yellow peas.
But think about this. How does,
I thought all peas were green.
Right? Cows aren't eating, they're not having a steak. How does a cow have protein? Well, it's in our vegetables, right?
I'm like, I look at a horse, I'm like, you look like that and you just eat hay.
Look how strong you are and you just eat hay. Well, guess what? Yeah. It has protein in it. We've been marketed that the only thing that has protein is animal meat, and that's not true.
Yeah, see, that's my brain's very conditioned that way, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we have great protein powders, great blends of your electrolytes or Magnecal or magnesium and calcium.
Oh, magnesium I heard is amazing for you.
Oh my gosh. Here's the numbers. Over 90% of men and women are deficient in magnesium.
What does magnesium affect?
Oh my gosh. How your muscles fire.
Okay.
Every single muscle firing needs magnesium to make it happen.
Okay.
Your heart is a muscle. It's sort of important.
A little bit.
Very.
A little bit.
It's sort of important.
Bring on the magnesium.
Bring it on. But there's over 100 different nutritional products, and they cover the gamut from athletic performance, pre and post, to hormone balancing, to healthy energy drinks.
So for the website though, is there instructions on what? Because for me, I can follow instructions, and if I'm given instructions and I'm committed to it, I am successful, and that's just. But if I'm not given instructions and I don't really know, it's like, here, do this, and I'm like, all right, you won't find me being successful with that program. Yeah. And then accountability, so having somebody say, how'd you do this week? What's going on? You know what I mean? So you said that you can have that support, but you don't have to have it. So people can just order it and just wing it.
They can order it. They can, because some people are like, I need my magnesium, my calcium. I want to know that a board of doctors went through it and made sure it's clean. They can go to the dropstodrops.com. There is a form that they can fill out for more information, and we will get them everything they need to get in contact with the website and start shopping.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all we're here to do, is to help people become informed and know that, you know what, there are groups out there that are working to put the best quality ingredients in the store for you.
Right. I like the fact that it's not just take these drops, lose weight. It's take these drops, change some lifestyle things, and then become a healthier person overall.
And have the support.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've helped that are friends that I love, you know, watching them go through the journey and their lower, their sugar and their weight and stuff. And they call me and like, hey, I lost 6 pounds this week.
Right.
You know, like so happy.
But doesn't it make you feel good?
Oh, it's so fulfilling. I mean, it really is fulfilling. And, you know, that's kind of my passion in this right now, and the health, and just, you know, passing on what was shared to me.
That's right.
So, I mean, and that's just what we do.
And you know that I love the whole time that we've talked about this, never once have you guys tried to sell it to me. And I think that that's amazing. You guys are just on board with the product. And I think that that's what's going to make it successful, if it's been out for 14 years, and that is what's making it successful. It's not, here, buy this, get into this program, you're going to make lots of money. And it's like generally wanting to help people.
It's one person at a time, but we all know someone, right? We all, like, when you start hearing about it, you're instantly like, oh my gosh, I need to tell Des about this. Oh my gosh, I need to tell Tammy about this. I think she would love it. And that's how we're meant to help each other. We're supposed to be able to impact our friends and our family. And here's the thing. When I was a chiropractor stuck in my office, seeing 50 patients a day, at some point, it was that 40th birthday, I'm like, there's got to be more to life than just sitting in here only helping this amount of people. And now here I sit today. I'm speaking to thousands, millions of people.
That's awesome.
My life's changed. One person at a time.
One person at a time. All right. So you guys, we are going to break again. When we get back, we're going to have more BaaD Radio, so stay tuned. Oh, welcome back. And I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsor, Bolts Legal. Fear no storm with boltslegal.com. Crazy Muscle Nutrition, located in 436 in Castleberry. And Balance Bodywork in Lake Mary. Derek Brantley is ready to help you take your pain away. Forge IT Consulting, providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business. ForgeITConsulting.com. And so we are on our last segment. It's so hard. Like I said, when we were 2 hours goes by so fast. But when we were 1 hour for the summer, it was like you blink your eye and the show's over. But we're here with Dr. Kristal Vance and Dave Vance, as well as Rick Hall, and we've been talking about Slenderiiz. And we've covered so many different topics. And one of the things I did want to really kind of focus on is the big trend right now, which is the semaglutides and the Ozempics and all these different medications that are just hit the market, and people are losing weight like crazy.
Yeah.
Now, I've been on this earth long enough to know that it's never that easy.
Well, yeah. So here's the thing. As I said earlier, I would have done anything and everything to lose my weight, and I did. So I would have been there's zero judgment if someone is using it. I just want people to know that it's a short-term result. In fact, it's what took Slenderiiz and has taken it viral and allowed us to get it out. So I'm actually thankful for this craziness.
How do you mean it?
She's like, how do you mean? So everybody started to focus on, oh, you can take this diabetic medication and it'll make you thin. Well, why? Because it dumps the insulin that's in your system. There's a natural way to do that. And so what I say is Slenderiiz is just your natural solution to what maybe you've been trying to do with these pharmaceuticals. The difference is when you're doing it with a pharmaceutical, it only lasts as long as you take it. So as soon as you stop taking it, your body is no longer going to be dumping the insulin because you were forcing it to do so. And you didn't, most people don't change their dietary habits for, when they're using the shots because they're getting results and not having to.
So how does it work? I don't even know how the Ozempic or the semaglutide works. I just know people take it and then they lose a ton of weight. I have heard it's got horrible side effects, nausea, all sorts of stuff.
I don't want to portray myself as a biochemist. I'm certainly not. But I do know that what it does is it forces your body to release insulin that's been stored in your fat cells and in your body. So your body is dumping insulin.
Okay.
And getting rid of it. So that means it's not being stored, which tells your body you don't need to store all this fat. Use it.
Okay.
So your body stops retaining fat and it starts to burn the fat cells on your body. So,
but I've also heard that it goes after muscle first. I've heard
you don't really, there's so many different side effects that come with it. Some people roll the dice and they do perfect with it and they have no side effects. And the stories that you hear, I mean, we have a physician that my dad has worked with that one of their partners went blind from it.
Oh my God.
Are you willing to give up your eyes, your sight? I've got a girl who it leached all of the calcium from her bones and she's in her late 40s, early 50s, and she's walking and broke her hip. Just walking, her bones are just brittle bones now.
Oh, wow.
So you don't know how it's going to affect your body. That's scary in itself.
Right.
And it's all for weight loss?
Yeah. But it's prescribed by a medical doctor, right? So it's not like you can just go to, CVS and buy it.
Now we're finding synthetic formulas that aren't, that have over the counter, and you can go to a facility and get, your semaglutide, and it's scary. You can go online and get set up and have it just delivered to your house, and
the real medical grade product.
Yeah, you can.
I get served the ads when I'm doom scrolling or whatever they call it. Because I'm a 51-year-old female, and chances are I'm you know what I mean? So I'm in the target demo.
You're the market. Yeah. But here's the thing. Like I said, there really is no judgment. I just want people to be informed that there's a natural way to do it, but have long-term effects. Because if I turn back on your body's insulin resistance or insulin sensitivity, so that you are no longer insulin resistant, then your body starts to do that naturally. Our bodies know how to take care of themselves when we do the right things. So we're going to pair it with, we're creating a chemical reaction with that low glycemic menu.
Okay.
The minute we pull out sugar, it's like walking up to a breaker box and there's fuses that are blown. And we're going to flip all those fuses back on, and then we're not going to take in the thing that blows the fuse in the first place, which is sugar. And then alongside supporting the system and all of the body with the drops, it's going to allow those fuses to stay put. And 3 months down the road, all of your organs are still on, and your body's working like it's supposed to, and your metabolism returns. Now, the further down the diabetes road you are, the longer it's going to take for us to get results. This is not will you feel better in a month? I believe so, yes. Are you going to feel incredible in 90 days? That's the first new cells that don't have all of this junk in them. So, yeah, in 6 months, wow, a new body. But, my mom and dad are a year in, and the change in their bodies in 1 year is
amazing.
Wow. And it's worth it.
Awesome.
It's amazing.
It is worth selling out to your own health.
I agree. So will a lot of these people that are taking the semaglutide and stuff like that, will they gain weight once they stop taking it?
Absolutely, because it didn't change anything long term. It is only while they're using the shot. Now, if they change their lifestyle during the process, they have a chance of keeping some of it off.
Okay.
But if there's no lifestyle change, they're going right back to where they were when they did it.
Okay. Well, like I said, it's such a trend, and like I said, I always know that there's never just like the perfect. There's never like the perfect pill or something like that.
Not.
You have to actually
and the
put
drops
effort
aren't
into
magic
it.
either. Yep.
But I mean, there's a system.
There is, and it's getting you back to a lifestyle choice of. I mean, I'm basically going every day to people. Are you drinking enough water? Are you eating enough food? Most people aren't even eating. Like 1,200 is the minimum amount of calories that we instruct people to eat. Like, I need people to actually eat food if you're going to have a metabolism.
Right. Not just like, oh, it's snack time. Here, have 3 almonds.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. No.
You're like, that's not food.
I mean, we've got to you got to put gas in a car to drive it. You got to put gas in your body for it to heal. So we got to eat food. You need supplementation. Like there's a reason it's called an essential amino acid. You have to consume it. In our diets, it's just not there.
Yeah.
So let's show you how to get them.
I mean, a medical doctor will tell you that a lot of the stuff is just not worth taking. Though,
Right.
I mean, I'm like, this is vitamin C, and they're like, nah, you know what I mean?
It's so crazy.
I'm just like,
it's like what?
And then I've always been a firm believer of peptides too, and then they got banned as well. I'm like, they literally want to ban everything that's good for us.
They do. And remember,
it's a conspiracy, Rick.
Well, remember, every pharmaceutical started out as a botanical.
Oh,
And then it's taken and it's turned into something synthetic so that it can be reproduced to give to the masses.
right.
So everything started out originally as a botanical blend, and then we find a way to, synthesize it. So
Right.
we're teaching people the last thing is to move. We do need to have exercise.
Yeah.
But that
Absolutely.
exercise isn't to burn calories. Exercise should be to build muscle.
Totally.
And when you change, and all of us, like we're houseplants, feed us, put sunshine on us, give us nutrients.
We grow.
We grow and we flourish, and then we bloom. So,
Right.
And we're
Love
happy.
it.
and
Right.
we're happy. We're skinny happy instead of happy fat, happy skinny.
We'll give everybody all the information. Thank you for being here today. Sorry, we're going to have to cut this off, but so it's dropsdrops.com, right?
Yep.
All right.
Dropsdrops.com.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, and a huge thank you to our sponsors,
Thank
and
you.
thanks for tuning in. And remember, everybody, shop local.
Yes.